The number of people visiting Las Vegas is continuing its downward trend.
It's, of course, Labor Day weekend, but tourism continues to trend down here in Southern Nevada.
I've been to Vegas like probably 20 times, and I definitely think this is the slowest I've seen.
For almost a century, Las Vegas has been a place full of bright lights, big risks, and big dreams. A desert city that has bounced back after wars, tough times, and big changes in society. But nothing prepared its streets glowing with neon lights, sprawling resort properties, and hardworking staff now confronted with the quiet that has taken over the Strip as we enter the summer of 2025.
We want those casinos to be very active, successful, and robust because that gives our break-in dealers an opportunity to transition, right? That's the goal.
Regulars, worker bees alike, and the cities the people who live and work here all felt it. Something about Las Vegas has shifted, and if you listen hard enough, if you listen closely, you'll notice the silence in the empty bars and the fading hope.
By now, you've probably heard about the growing concerns stemming from a decline in our tourism numbers. The impact goes well beyond all of our friends and family who work in the hospitality industry.
Just 1 year ago, the Las Vegas Strip was filled with the footsteps of more than 41 million annual visitors. A footfall that fed into a huge tourism industry worth billions of dollars with every giggle, dollar, and cocktail. Today, empty signs call out to a much smaller crowd than before. The bright lights seem dimmer, overshadowed by the absence of the many hopeful visitors just included in that equation. After 6 months of shrinking visitor numbers, June saw a steep drop with frustrated tourists having little relief, having about 400 less tourism traffic than June just 1 year ago.
Very concerned because it's slow. When I drive down the Strip going to work in the morning and I barely see visitors out there.
For the typical visitor, today, Vegas feels like it's only for the very rich. Room rates are sky high. Resort fees are topping $50 a night. And now it seems like every hotel charges additional fees for everything from gym access to early check-in. Vegas's image has changed quickly. Things that were once affordable luxuries, a bottle of water, a fairly simple cocktail, have become ludicrous. 34 bagels, 16 energy drinks, and the innumerable 20 beverages are no longer the exception at Strip resorts. They are the rule. Parking was once almost free, has become yet another point of friction. Guests are complaining that they are being taken for a ride, just trying to get from their hotel room to the pool. Often they realize that towels might come with a price too. Additionally, comps are fewer and far between. Casinos are offering fewer complimentary drinks, and those that do offer them demand far more play for way less reward.
Particular trip that it seems to be less crowded than normal. We usually come on Labor Day weekend.
For visitors from outside, the wall is an even greater height. Canadians, longtime backbone of summer visitation, saw that number drop by greater than 20%. Mixed messages coming from US. Policy as well as rising visa fees and difficult trade matters caused a crash in foreign visitation. International visitation dropped 13% in June alone. There are many who used to come to Las Vegas for a week getaway now simply stay home because Las Vegas is not worth it anymore. The fears of the recession are running rampant through the streets. The national news has drummed up fears around dwindling disposable budgets, which is a warning bell for retail, hospitality, and travel. Families look at soaring prices in Vegas and choose closer and cheaper alternatives. For some, inflation means that the vacation fund now means household bills.
According to a Friday report from the LVCVA, hotel occupancy dropped to 76% in July. That's about a 7% drop from last year.
And it isn't just travelers. In Las Vegas itself, about a quarter of all jobs are directly or indirectly related to tourism. When those numbers slide, negative 7.3% in the first half of this year, with occupancy rates at all-time lows, union officials, economists, and city leaders rush to stop the bleeding. Empty rooms mean hundreds of missed paychecks, and every closed restaurant holds stories of layoffs and lost tips.
I just think the economy's got to get a little better. I think that's part of the problem.
In an increasingly interconnected world, the speed of change can be breathtaking. Trade disputes and global uncertainty, especially the increasingly fraught relationship between the US and Canada, have nudged international arrivals into freefall. Unaffordable visa integrity fees, still $250 USD for non-waiver travelers, and other global restrictions leave tourists looking at Europe, Mexico, or Florida instead. And conventions, Vegas's traditional buffer against downturns in visitation, have only partly made up the difference. While convention visitation grew nearly 10%, leisure travel, the lifeblood of Las Vegas, declined sharply outside of business events.
I said something to her about it, that it just doesn't seem that busy for being a holiday weekend.
Because it's a long weekend, I feel like it should be I would assume it would be a little busier, yeah.
Las Vegas has long flourished by changing with the times. However, in 2025, that kind of agility failed. The move towards ultra-high-end entertainment, suites, bottle service, celebrity chef dinners, left middle-class travelers out of the process and unsure of their welcome. Decade-long locals feel it too. Vegas used to be the city that welcomed everyone, says Gloria Valdez, a lifelong hostess in downtown Las Vegas. Now, they seem to want only the whales, the tech millionaires, and the influencers. But those people don't have a stake in the community. They come, take a selfie, and leave. If you really want to make sense of the unraveling of Las Vegas, listen to those that live there. They tell the clearest stories and the deepest wounds.
Now, interestingly enough, outside of hotel incentives, every single tourist I spoke to complained about high costs.
Across the casino floor, the dealers and staff remember the glory days, when cheers erupted with a blackjack, or when regular customers would practically give you a signal when they played every week, or that thrilling uncertainty when dealing. Now, they describe a shift to hostility and tiredness. You can see it in their eyes. A dealer who works at a large property on the Strip said about their customers, they feel like they're being milked. The minimums are undoubtedly higher, $25 a seat on a Tuesday night. You don't have customers now if you are a low roller.
COVID ended and business went way, way up because everybody was tired of being cooped up. They got out of their house, they had COVID money, and
many dealers once worked 3 pit sections. Now it is often 2 and sometimes just 1. The rest is closed or consolidated. The run-on effect of fewer sections has worse jobs, worse tips, and worse stress for employees who are still there.
You don't need as many dealers, let's say. You don't need as many tables open.
Housekeepers have lost daily cleaning schedules, partly a post-pandemic aftermath, but management keeps it in place to save money. Where a room may have seen a fresh face every day, now some go 3-4 nights untouched, only to be left a disaster to clean. This means added work per good cleaning, less interaction with guests, and with fewer rooms occupied to begin with. Just less work.
COVID was too long, so we just decided we may as well. Life's too short. But it's been really good, so it has. It's very busy. So that's been everywhere that we've gone and we're really, really hot.
The layoffs are done quietly. They just take your name off the schedule. No heads up, no reason. One long-term employee told me, you show up and your locker is empty.
We need heads and beds in Southern Nevada. We need people enjoying the amenities that Las Vegas has to offer.
Bars and nightclubs on Fremont and the Strip have fewer cheers and more glares. The price of a drink has doubled or tripled over the last few years. $9 for a beer on draft, $16 for a plain cocktail in some cases. Tips have decreased while bar prices have increased. People feel robbed, said one bartender in Fremont. But the people that are angry take it out on us. Less kindness, more entitlement. And the magic? Gone. Even technicians are aware of the tighter machines and less generous comps. The payout percentage, the RTP, used to be generous, according to one technician. Now, if we're lucky, it's 85%. People are not winning. They are feeding machines that don't pay back. The strict rules around rewards, membership points, and comps means even the regulars are at a loss, sometimes having to add all the points up in spreadsheets to find out they cannot afford the free buffet or free night in the hotel. The changing demographics is visible across the entire market. There are no longer busloads of retirees from the Midwest, no longer the regulars who each brought their own stories and routines to the place, and no longer families with children well within a set of parental travel norms to take their kids on a once-a-year trip to Vegas. Now there are international whales, technology entrepreneurs, influencers, looking for post content and not connection. The younger population travels elsewhere or travels less. Sports betting applications and online gaming now make the thought of a physical table redundant for many. Gen Z in particular drinks less, seeks out different entertainment, and is not drawn to the promise of Vegas on the traditional style of Vegas, the old-timers feel the loss acutely. Vegas was about hope. Not surety, not luxury, hope, says Marcus, a slot tech. The drop in tourism isn't just affecting the casinos or the hotels. It's knocking on every level of the Las Vegas economy. Locally owned restaurants and retailers where selling a few things is down dramatically. There are many that report relying on repeat local customers instead of the constant barrage of visitors. I have not had a full house for dinner on a Saturday since March, says a shop owner whose business is in proximity to the Strip. Decreased visitor counts trickle down to construction jobs, rideshare jobs, retail jobs, and entertainment. Bus and taxi drivers, delivery drivers, everyone in service reports less demand and less tip. I've worked this route for 20 years, watching the Strip get built, and built. But lately it seems, while the world waits for the confidence to get back to normal, we are going backwards, says a bus driver. While mega events like Formula One or major music residencies create temporary spikes, those spikes are dots in a steady downtrend. Some venues have eliminated shows or cut seasons dramatically due to a lack of audience. A last twist in Vegas's decline. Despite all the bad numbers, gaming revenue is still relatively strong, or records growth in some months. The kicker: the visitors that remain have more discretionary spending, gambling more, and are wealthier than previous years. It's a win-lose situation. The casinos are doing fine, but the games are emptier, and the heart of a city that was built on a sea of small stories and larger dreams feels hollow. For service staff, hosts, and performers, the absence is the most felt. The money is there, but we are not in it, says one cocktail server.
We have 40 million people who come to Las Vegas from all over the world, but we've already seen a decline of 17% of travelers.
Las Vegas has always been more than a destination for tourists. It is a city for the local workers, families, and dreamers, whose fortunes turn with each boom and bust. Unions have gotten sharper, negotiating for as many job protections where they can, and looking to pull the city management into maintaining benefits while cutting hours. In the meantime, many workers are finding second jobs, working harder on their side hustles, or hedging their bets with new jobs altogether.
From Canada to Las Vegas in just the first few months since the start of this year. It's the tariffs because of the cost.
City officials are trying to redeem their image. There are advertisements, packaged vacation deals, and attempts to entice foreigners, mostly Canadians and Mexicans, down with value propositions. But the stagnating wage pressures with the cost of living puts a damper on any plan or hope for recovery, even though there was genuine goodwill. Las Vegas has come from a place of angst like this. For many, it is particularly painful because it follows the pandemic's aftermath, inflation's pressure, and overall declining global trends.
But it's also the fact that they don't feel welcome. They feel like their dollar doesn't matter.
Some local people have issued creative pop-ups, Old Vegas-themed events, business meetups for small businesses, local strategies, and rooftop arts events. However, it feels like any positive event diminishes in light of loss. When an essential element has left or is threatened, there is a limit to how much nostalgia or bright light will help turn it around in a span of a couple months. Veterans recall memories of the mob-running city, generally romanticized for its kindness and community, if not for its crime. Today, some of those same nostalgic laborers wonder whether the cut-and-paste effort of corporate casino management's much-admired spreadsheets and algorithms has sucked the risk, fellowship, and surprise out of Vegas. What will be the future of Las Vegas? Optimism might mean a renaissance of opportunity. There are so many travel deals for less as travel demand returns, while the rest of the economy emerges from uncertainty. Visitor return and package deals might represent the lost visitors. Local vendors might win also, as well as community-based undertakings. There are more pessimistic views warning against an expensive playground only for wealthy visitors with no signs of affordable fun for all, lower prices, better service, and more winning. Las Vegas risks all appeal and notoriety by losing focus on why it enjoyed worldwide fame. The decline in Las Vegas tourism is much more than a few anecdotal examples of hotel occupancy tanking and decline in revenue. The experience is a story of hopelessness, cultural change, social dislocation, and thousands of people looking to navigate their lives in a city suddenly living out its own legend. In conclusion, every employee story, every closed store, every whisper from a stripped and muted casino is a crucial turning point for Las Vegas. Whether Las Vegas can recover and reorient itself or continue the trajectory of distance from its roots is still unknown, and the same is true to the decay of workshop signs and calls for something that is lost. In moving through the next phase of the original human-written narrative of the collapse of Las Vegas tourism in 2025, I will deepen the analysis of the underlying causes, business implications, and cultural consequences, and I hope that will offer a new way of thinking about the story. The collapse of Las Vegas tourism in 2025 was not spontaneous or caused without context, or in a totally random fashion. It is the result of a complicated combination of macroeconomic trends, consumer behavior changes, policy changes, and Las Vegas's own decisions. Decisions that, through hindsight, appear to have propelled the city closer to the edge. Visitors are feeling restricted and squeezed not just with sticker prices, but by the constant layering of fees and charges. The resort fee that started out as a minor small afterthought has usually neared $50 a night and then is added to room rates already high in price for a visitor. These resort fees say they cover amenities that a visitor would rarely use: gym, pool, Wi-Fi, early check-in, bottled water. For many first-time and repeat visitors, this feels as if they are being deceived and rolled for every dime. Pricing that was once clear and straightforward has become an unexpected gauntlet of eventualities that can easily change the actual cost of a stay by double without the visitor's expectations. Charges for small or basic items start to be affected as well. A bottle of water that used to cost $1 or $2 in many casinos now have a price tag of $10 or more. It is rare to find a cocktail for less than $30 on the strip, not including a tip, which leaves bartenders and servers more and more frustrated. Parking, which was once totally free and unthought of, has now become an annoyment. Charges are done by the hour in some cases and adds to guest annoyments and feelings of resentment. This price creep is more than a headache, creating a perception that Las Vegas is no longer approachable or affordable for the average traveler or mid-range tourist, the very people that the city has been built for over many years. International visitors, who are typically favorable because they stay longer and spend more, have virtually exited. Canadians, who are the most significant international visitor group, reportedly had numbers decrease by as much as 20% in some summer months. As to why this is happening, there are a number of layers. Policy and global relations has a role. Increasing visa fees, stricter customs processes, and a less inviting environment have made traveling to the United States more cumbersome. The outcome: a resulting increase in people traveling to other destinations or postponing leisure activities. Consider the general global economic pressure points: currency exchange rate fluctuations, inflation in other countries, and uncertainties on health and travel safety, and the decrease is more clearly understood. For a place like Las Vegas, heavily dependent on international spending, this could be catastrophic. Even domestic tourism, the lifeblood of Vegas' sustainability shock, has lost some steam. Americans, responding to inflation and economic anxiety, are traveling less and are much more cautious with their spending. Rising petrol prices and other travel costs result in fewer spontaneously planned trips. Families and middle-class visitors, historically the cornerstone of the diversity in Las Vegas visitors, are instead choosing more affordable or closer options. Many Californians, historically a significant portion of visitors via nearby Interstate 15, are reducing and in some cases, canceling their trips altogether to Las Vegas. Summer wildfires in California prevented many from traveling, as smoke and burn bans limited their desire to go far from home. Younger generations prioritize experiences over gambling. The prevalence of online gaming and apps for sports betting shifts the meaning of visiting casinos in Las Vegas for many millennials and Generation Z visitors. The addition of changing drinking habits, increased health awareness, and changing cultural values makes the way Las Vegas has operated for decades feel like an antiquated model. The city's shift towards luxury and exclusivity, albeit profitable for some, does nothing to draw these younger groups back. The minimum entry fee to bottle service clubs and the price of luxury in private gaming areas are huge obstacles for these younger groups. And every social media influencer does not equal a repeat visitor. Behind every number is a face. That's the story of the locals, who are the lifeblood of Las Vegas. The collapse is not just numbers, it is a personal collapse. Dealers who would once thrive on the energy of packed rooms now usually manage only a limited amount of tables, with many closed. Minimum bets have increased and are way more than when they used to be low enough to attract general players. More players are shut out. A lot of dealers can remember a time when it was fun, when friendships could evolve on the tri-green felt. Camaraderie and connection were giving energy to the room. Now it feels tense and transactional. Tips are down, and speed and efficiency are demanded to take the place of values. Decks are dealt faster, but the energy of the room is less.
My girlfriend, I was planning on starting a family next year, buying the house, getting the American dream.
Housekeepers report entire wings of hotels sitting empty for days, even weeks. The workload presents a conflict. Fewer occupied rooms means there are fewer total rooms to service, yet management imposes increased quotas and higher expectations. Guests do not request daily cleaning, which means working through a messy room left untouched. And while everyone in the service industry is burdened with reductions and layoffs, no one ever seems to know or steady the ground until it is too late. The pride in every thoughtful attendance, a mint on the pillow or a towel folded by my own hand, has been exchanged for a hurrying and sanitizing mindset where morale is not at its peak. Bartenders miss tips, they miss patrons not being angry, they miss being busboys when seats were often full and the rush of bartending was a joy of commingling. Now there are fewer, angrier patrons, and many of whom exude frustration or exhaustion with the increasing numbers on the bill. What was once a terrific ritual of a drink is now more of a job. The crowds are thinner, the fights are thicker, and the atmosphere is colder. Where there was once a warm buzz that filled the hall outside the bars for 2 decades now reflects a stale death. Technicians can see the differences in the game's programming. Lower payout, stricter rules, the margins are tighter, and while the house may enjoy their percentages of ROI, player experience is discounted. Even if it is a small reduction in return to player, the long-standing players still felt an early urgency, and some were sensed the games were not as generous as they had been. This affects not only player satisfaction but also repeat visits of loyal customers who build the loyalty programs and economy. Visitor pool composition has changed hugely. The retirees, blue-collar families, and casual gamblers who made up much of Sin City's appeal are mostly gone. Now it's high rollers, foreign whale gamblers, tech industry aristocrats, and lifestyle trolls, communities less assimilated into Las Vegas's antiquing identity. While profitable in the short run, this condition could jeopardize the viability of Las Vegas in an extended time frame. Large, rich players do not fill hotel rooms for long periods, do not normally dine or drink at local dining establishments, and are transient customers. The tourism slump has rippled through greater Las Vegas's economy. Every level of the economy has felt the squeeze, from small businesses to mega venues. Restaurants outside the strip struggle to seat diners, retail and local services report orders slower than usual, and the number of transportation jobs decrease as public transport and rideshare demand has flatlined. The construction projects that bloomed like dandelions during peak tourism years have slowed down, affecting thousands of jobs. Event organizers report lower participation. Artists, performers, and technicians complain about fewer gigs. Interestingly, statewide gaming revenues have remained relatively flat or increased in some months, primarily due to larger bets from fewer, wealthier patrons. This has led to a paradox, such that profits can counter superficial tendency to ignore underlying fragility. Another disconnection for employees is that more profits mean less job security as casinos cut staff and continue to practice automation. Unions and workers are advocating against layoffs and requesting more protections for jobs and benefits. Various community groups are advocating for diversification and inclusivity in tourism. Local government-run promotions are promoted or are extended to Canadians and others again via special offers. While there are many questions about how to address the significant challenge of a balance between exclusivity and inclusive, luxury and fun everyday experiences, the collapse of Las Vegas tourism in 2025 did not occur randomly or emerge overnight without circumstances leading to the unplanned decline. The deterioration is a mix of big economic shifts, changes in how people spend, and new rules, and choices made by the destination itself. Choices that, in retrospect, might have contributed to and carried itself to the brink. Visitors are feeling pinched and pushed away not only by the sticker price on offerings, but by the ski slope that is fees upon fees. Resort fees were once an afterthought in the grand scheme of things. Now they routinely exceed $50 per night on top of exorbitant room rates, with guests paying as much as $299 per night, plus taxes and fees. Resort fees charge for amenities that most guests may never utilize. Access to gyms, pools, Wi-Fi, and even services like early check-in, bottled water, or chocolates. For many first-time and returning visitors, this continued extreme pricing comes off as deceptive and nickel and diming, with clear price transparency evolving into an unforeseen cost-shifting add-on. Maze imposed upon unsuspecting visitors that can double the average cost of a stay without warning. Costs for even the smallest items have soared. A simple bottle of water that used to cost $1 or $2 can now be priced at $10 in many casinos. A cocktail is charging $30 or more on the strip, and no one considers tips. So bartenders and servers are growing increasingly frustrated. Also, parking, once free and taken for granted, has become a constant nuisance, and there is no end to guest complaints. In some instances, it is charged by the hour before guests are even aware, and imbibing in those nasty chatbots lately said to earn them money. This price creep goes beyond being a nuisance. It creates the perception that Las Vegas is not only no longer affordable for the everyday traveler and mid-range tourist, but that the city is no longer not even welcoming to them or interested in them, as they built the foundation of this city for decades. Massive declines in tourism, international visitors who often stay longer and spend more are leaving Las Vegas in groups. Canadians, the largest foreign group of visitors, are disappearing 20% in some summer months. There are many factors contributing to this decline. Policy change and global relationships are certainly contributors. Increasing visa costs, new customs protocols, and less inviting conditions have made it more difficult to travel to the US, meaning people are more likely to consider alternative destinations and leisure travel less often. Consider the additional layers of global economic pressure, currency fluctuation, inflation in other countries, and ongoing uncertainties surrounding health and travel safety, and the extent of the decline becomes more understandable. For a destination like Las Vegas that is incredibly reliant on international travel, this decline has been devastating. Even domestic tourism, which provides the foundation for Vegas's and other travel destinations while times are lean, is no longer dependable. With Americans re-evaluating budgets in response to inflation and their surrounding economic situation, traveling less frequently and spending more cautiously, fuel costs and other travel-related expenses also mean people have become less spontaneous. Families and middle-income visitors, who were once the cornerstone of Las Vegas's tourism diversity, are now considering cheaper alternatives closer to home or none at all. Many of the Californians that represent a significant percentage of many visitors via nearby Interstate 15 are no longer traveling as they did. The summer in California with wildfires grounded many California travelers, with the impediments of smoke and burn bans to discourage trips away from home. Young generations of travelers value experiences far greater than a gamble. As more young people slowly come of age, part of their experience will likely be another gaming activity via an online gaming platform or sports betting app. The floor of a casino may not be attractive to many millennials or Generation Z consumers, or for that matter, any consumers. Additionally, merging this with changing drinking habits, awareness of health, and changing culture of prioritizing experience, Las Vegas's traditional formula for attracting visitors begins to look rusty. While the city is making an effort to embrace luxuriousness, exclusivity, and higher revenue for amenities, the effort possibly alienates these younger groups. The cost to enter a bottle service club or a private gaming segment is cost prohibitive, and the influencers from social media channels sometimes don't yield repeat visits. There is a face behind every number, a story told by the locals that make Las Vegas tick. The degradation of Las Vegas is not just a statistical story, but also a personal story. The collapse of Las Vegas tourism is a warning story of economic shifts, pricing power, and changing social trends. It reflects a city at a city torn between luxury for a few and welcome for everyone.
We've had crises, and we have recovered from crises.
Restoring its broad appeal requires more than marketing or luxury upgrades. It demands addressing the human cost, reassessing pricing and policies, and reconnecting with the vast middle of travelers whose absence now echoes deeply across the Strip. Whether Las Vegas can reclaim its unique magic or becomes merely a shadow of its former self is a story that is still being written in the lives of its workers and visitors alike.